Scottish architect who planned a linear new town for Edinburgh? A. Robert Owen. B. James Craig. C. Sir Christopher Wren. D. John Gwynne. Answer: B. James Craig. Population scale of 4 million. A. Ecumenopolis. B. Metropolis. C. Megalopolis. D. Aeropolis. Answer: C. Megalopolis. The Broadacre city is a design conceptualized by A. Clarence Perry. B. Frank Lloyd Wright. C. Pierre Charles L'Enfant. D. Robert Moses. Answer: B. Frank Lloyd Wright.
What is the density of Broadacre City? The Broadacre City of tomorrow is the core of Wright's proposal was that each family would receive, at a minimum, an acre to call its own. Larger families would have more, and Wright later set the optimal density at approximately 2.5 people per acre. History of Broadacre City. Throughout Frank Lloyd's lifetime, he presented the idea in his book The Disappearing City in 1932. Broadacre City is an alternative to the high-density metropolitan city. In The Living City, many of the building models in the concept were completely new designs by Wright, while others were refinements of old ones, some of which had been rarely seen. In Broadacre City, each family is given 1 acre, 4,000 meters of land on which to build a house and grow food. The city was considered to be almost fully self-sufficient. The car was to be the main mode of transport. Some clean industry was planned along the edges of the city. Urban planner. The greatest architect of the 19th century was Frank Lloyd. Clarence Perry's concept of a neighborhood unit. In the United States, neighborhood units were originally conceived as small areas within which all residents had access to basic services such as schools, parks, stores, etc., and where they could live without having to travel long distances. As a result, they are often defined by their proximity to public transportation or other amenities. Charles Arthur Perry, an architect and planner from New York, was one of the first authors that defined the concept of neighborhood unit. Description of Perry's neighborhood unit. According to Perry, a neighborhood should comprise a population of about 5,000, 9,000 residents, with schools, places of worship, and recreational areas at its center. The 160-acre neighborhood is to be developed such that there are 10 dwellings per acre. This would also require an elementary school with an enrollment of between 1,000 and 1,200 pupils. The design should allow the residents to access basic facilities and services at a distance of not more than 1/4 mile from their place of residence. Further, about 10% of the area is to be allocated to recreation. The arteries of the roads are confined to the surrounding streets, and the internal streets are limited for access to the residents of the neighborhood. Daniel Hudson Burnham. The aborted plan of Daniel Burnham. The United States occupation of the Philippines in 1898 ushered in a new phase in Philippine architecture. America established an American style of government and urban planning that served the needs of secular education and public services. In 1904, the Chicago fame architect Daniel H. Burnham came to the Philippines on an invitation from the government to plan a modern Manila. The city then had a population of only 100,000. But Burnham envisioned it as a metropolis inhabited by millions, with multi-laned avenues radiating from its central districts. He proposed that the old moat, lake, around Intramuros be reclaimed. That Luneta is enlarged into a 30-acre park, and a seaside boulevard is built from the Manila waterfront to Cavite. Burnham's vision for Manila. Burnham's vision for Manila was a government center occupying all of Wallace Field, which extends from Luneta to the present Taft Avenue. The Philippines' capital was to rise on the Taft Avenue end of the field, facing toward the sea, and would form, with the buildings of different government bureaus and departments, a mighty quadrangle, a lagoon in the center, and a monument to Rizal at its Luneta end. The Burnham Plan. The Burnham Plan, which the London Times called a miracle by an Aladdin, was approved by the Philippine legislature, which agreed to set aside 2 million pesos every year for the execution of the plan. When the fund had reached some 16 million, however, President Manuel L. Quezon decided to use the money on irrigation projects instead. Quezon noted that rice fields were more important than fine structures for Manila. Of Burnham's proposed government center, only 3 units were built. The Legislative Building, originally intended as the National Library, and the Building of the Finance, currently the Museum of the Filipino People. An Agricultural, Tourism departments, which were completed on the eve of the war. By then, President Quezon had doomed the Burnham Plan by creating a new capital outside Manila, which was named after him. Quezon City.
The Legislative Building was started early in the 1920s. Construction was sporadic, lasting until 1926, and cost about 6 million pesos, a bargain price today. When the building was half finished, the Philippine Solons decreed that it was the house, not the National Library, but the legislative session halls and offices. Later, the National Library was allowed to occupy the basement.
According to Nick Joaquin, the building, legislative, along with the Old Jones Bridge, was undoubtedly our happiest achievement in a neoclassic manner. For a moment in our history, the style of the Romans suited our temper perfectly, and we created a structure that had grace and dignity. The post-war edifice still glows with the serene spirit of the original and stands as a memorial to Burnham's glorious dream and to the days when we felt like noble Romans, gravely founding a republic.
Garden City Movement by Sir Ebenezer Howard. The concept originated from the book by Sir Ebenezer Howard in the early 1900s. It was important for Howard to spread his ideas, and the Garden City Movement was a way of doing it. He wanted people to move out of cities and into a new type of community that he called the Garden City.
A garden city is an ideal type of settlement or urban design that has been created using a holistic approach to planning and architecture. A garden city is a place where people live, work, and play. The distinct characteristics of Garden City are its green spaces and public amenities. An ideal garden city is a compact town of 6,000 acres, 5,000 of which is permanently reserved for agriculture. It accommodates a maximum population of 32,000. There are parks and private lawns everywhere. Also, the roads are wide, ranging from 120 to 420 feet for Grand Avenue, and are radial rather than linear. Within the town, functional zoning is basic. Commercial, industrial, residential, and public uses are clearly differentiated from each other spatially. Additional elements include unified land ownership cooperatives. There was no individual ownership of land. The local community also participated in the decision-making regarding development. As we can see in the diagram, there is a central park containing public buildings. It is surrounded by shopping streets which are further surrounded by dwelling units in all directions. The outer circle contains factories and industries. Railroads bypass the town, meeting the town at a tangent. Living in a planned unit development. PUD. A. More private amenities and common ground than a typical HOA, such as grocery stores, restaurants, privately owned roads, and more. B. Land ownership. The homeowner owns their building and land rather than the homeowners association. C. More freedom of use within certain guidelines. D. Convenience. Residents of a PUD can walk, bike, or drive a short distance to any one of the amenities. E. Affordable amenities. PUDs may provide amenities at a lower cost compared to amenities you might find in other communities. Residents may also pay less for street construction, utilities, and maintenance costs. F. All residents of a PUD must join the HOA and contribute to its fees. G. PUDs may have varying degrees of restrictive covenants that some homeowners may feel limit their autonomy. These covenants can impose regulations on home appearance, landscaping, home additions, quiet hours, Pets and use of public spaces. H. Proximity to other houses. Homes may be located much closer together than in some more traditional HOAs or neighborhoods. Those not wishing to be too close with their neighbors might want to reconsider. I. Buying and selling challenges. Put real estate can invite unique challenges. You may find it more difficult to buy and sell a PUD. A PUD with multiple available units can drive down the price and make your home harder to sell.
Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like and follow this channel. God bless.